Everybody, you have seen at the program that we will talk about the employment and the labor market and women's rights, COVID-19 issues in the Western Balkans. In the program, you have seen that I would have to talk about labor rights in the textile and shoes companies, which are growing up during these 10 years in our countries in the Western Balkan, and most of the working places in this sector are being covered by women. In Albania, in Turkey is a little bit different, in fact. Sorry for the Turkish representative. I don't have information in this presentation about Turkey, but I will talk in general about Western Balkan issues. When I was preparing this presentation, I slightly make a different presentation that I was taught in the beginning, in order to give you more information, because I saw some very important research studies that has been done for the Western Balkans from the World Bank and from OECD. So let's continue with my presentation. During this session, you will have the presentation. Then we will have group discussions during presentation. So please, if you have something to ask, just interrupt me and we can discuss. It's not a problem. Group discussions at the end by countries, because I prepared some questions for you, for anybody who has information. Objectives of this session are for you to understand the labor situation in the Western Balkans before COVID, during and after COVID, and consider how gender roles impact participation in the labor market, understanding main gender and employment concepts, questions and answers. However, I don't think that for main gender concepts we will have time, but let's see. Employment issues in the Western Balkans in 2019. In the Western Balkans, for many years, the economic growth has been going very slowly. But during the last 10 years, we have a kind of economic growth. And in 2019, during this period, 105,500 new jobs were created, and employment increased by 1.7%, ranging from a decline of 2.4% in Bosnia and Herzegovina to an increase of 5.2% in North Macedonia. So although that the other countries has, let's say, a good perspective and new jobs created, in Bosnia, they didn't have that. Recent job creation benefited women, younger and older age groups, and those with higher levels of education most. Amid an overall increase in employment in the region, the number of people employed informally dropped in Serbia and North Macedonia. So they have a positive, let's say, reaction toward the informality in their countries, informal employment. So Serbia, the number dropped by 43,000, and in North Macedonia by around 14,000. But in Albania, we have a rise of people working in the informal sector by 30,000. And you know very well what does it mean, an informal sector, a sector where people at least does not have the right for social insurance. They work without a contract, and they are not covered by other security issues that they need this in their future life, or for keeping their children and themselves in the health system covered. And also these job places are really with a lot of problems, starting from harassment, sexual harassment, and other issues that they present. Unemployment reached an all-time low in all Western Balkans countries in 2019, so it was a very good progress before COVID, in fact, ranging from 10.3% in Serbia and 11.5% in Albania to 25.2% in Kosovo. Immigration from the region played an important role in the reduction of unemployment. Youth unemployment fell in all Western Balkan countries, and we have faced this, in fact, in our countries. During all this period, we are listening to the young people who are leaving the country due to unemployment and to the insecurity that they are living. So the average for Western Balkan countries is 30.5%, and it's more than twice as high as the EU average. So we are not giving to our youngsters a good, in Western Balkan, a good situation for employment. More than 1/5 of the youth population was not in employment, education, or training, and almost unchanged compared to a year earlier. A year earlier in this study that I'm bringing to you is 2019 and 2018. So the year earlier is 2018. So this is really very, very hard to think that the young population cannot be in employment. Wages increased in all Western Balkan countries, and this was partly the result of hikes in the minimum wage, rises in public sector wages, as well as labor shortage in some sectors. In 2019, average monthly gross wage growth was positive in all Western Balkan countries and was higher than in 2018, except in Kosovo. So in 2019, we have a little bit of wage increase in Western Balkan countries, but of course, COVID-19 brought another situation that I will talk a little bit after. Working age. Working age population continued to shrink in most Western Balkan countries. A trend driven by population aging and continued outward migration, and this was particularly true for Bosnia and Herzegovina. The overall working age population dropped by 2% between 2018 second quarter and 2019 second quarter in all Western Balkans. Again, before COVID, these are not good, let's say, findings. Bosnia and Herzegovina showed an extraordinary decrease of 9.2%, whereas the working age population increased in Kosovo with 1.5% and Montenegro 0.3%. You see that the decrease in Bosnia and Herzegovina is not good, but also the increase in Kosovo and Montenegro are not good enough because they are fragile. Since 2012, the structure of the working age population in the Western Balkans changed in the direction of increasing employment and self-employment, combined with a decline in unemployment and in inactivity. Despite improvements, the percentage of the employment in the Western Balkans remained far below that of the EU countries. So again, Western Balkans, although that we all know that Western Balkans governments has been supported a lot by EU countries, by United States or by other countries, with technical and with financial support, still we are very not so good in terms of employment. That's why we are creating these job places that are not well secured and also are not for a long term and are not covering the population as they should, or as they happened in EU countries. At the same time, the proportions of people unemployed and inactive were still higher in the region than in the EU countries. Since 2013, activity rates in the Western Balkans countries increased but remained low. This was primarily due to low female labor force participation, but also to low male participations in some countries. So we know that in all our countries, the female labor participation is really low for many reasons that we will discuss after. But in some countries also, males are facing this kind of participation in the labor market due to the sectors that are shrinked and to the few number of sectors and the disproportionate labor places to the degree of, degree of professionals of the professions that male and female are being equipped in each of the country. And also we have a very low and not stable vocational education training that brings people or empower people during their life period in order to have more stable workplaces and be ready for the labor market. Between the second quarter of 2019 and second quarter of 2019, the regional activity rate for people 15 to 60 years old increased by 0.5%, which is really very low. Arrived to 63.8%. So rising in all the countries except Kosovo and Serbia. The labor force participation rate still lagged far behind those in the EU countries and varied considerably across the countries. With regard to gender, the labor force participation of women in the Western Balkans was among the lowest in Europe, whereas male activity rates, with exceptions of Bosnia-Herzegovina and Kosovo, were comparable to those of the EU countries. So again, we have a force of women that are not used. We have the labor force of women that are staying home, are not paid, are just doing the family activities, keeping children, keeping elderly, and doing other household chores. Inactivity rate. Inactivity remains stubbornly high in the Western Balkans, despite dropping by 2.6% since 2015. In the second quarter of 2019, the number of persons outside the labor market averaged 4.1 million. So 4.1 million in the Western Balkan countries is a little bit too high number. Or 37% of the working age population aged 15 to 64 years old. Imagine this population that will be growing up year by year, what problems they will face and how they will, their relation with the poverty will be. It will be really terrible. And our governments and our policies that they are doing are not tackling this issue. And of course, female inactivity is part of this, but we don't have exact number how much are male or female in this 4.1 million. Among the main factors behind the high female inactivity were low educational levels, family responsibilities, lack of affordable or available child care, especially in the rural areas, and cultural and religious reason. In our countries, you know very well that even the religion is interfering with so we are trying, for example, in Albania to involve religion leaders in order to make them understand that the women should be respected and they should spread this, and also should be part of the labor market. They should not stay home. But still we are facing with these issues. Also the low educational level, because I know that in Albania, Kosovo, North Macedonia, and Serbia, the Bosnia and Herzegovina, also the women, the girls, the families are keeping girls away from the education level. I mean, until they are finishing some classes, and then they go out of the system of education system for taking more family responsibilities. Across the Western Balkan countries, the lack of participation in the labor market was most acute among young people. So with the age group reporting an inactivity rate of 68% in the second quarter of 2019. People from 15 to 24 years old, they are 68% unemployed and inactive, and this is really too much for a country. Of course, young women are more inactive than men, 75% versus 61.8% in second quarter of 2019. The high level of inactivity among young people can partly be explained by a longer stay in training and by the likelihood that they timed the start of their working lives according to the situation of the labor market. What about employment? So as we said in the beginning, we have more than 105,000 new job created compared to 60,000. So we have a growth, and this growth were more strongest in North Macedonia. The employment grew in all Western Balkan countries except Bosnia and Herzegovina and Kosovo. And the percentage of raise is 0.7%, 3% in Albania and Montenegro, 0.7% in Serbia. So and minus to Bosnia and Kosovo. So it's not is not stable. In most countries, the service sector, industry, and construction were the main sources of job creation, while employment in agriculture continued to slide. We have a lot of informal employment. So the number of those employed informally declined, in fact, in Serbia and North Macedonia, with an increase to Albania. We said this before. And since 2014, employment in the informal sector has declined in all three countries, but with alternating increases and decreases in each year. So it's not stable. This is the problem, that our governments, our political leaders, they are not tackling the issue of instability in the informal employment, although that it is raised or increased in some countries. Still we have to face this. Except in Montenegro, unemployment continued to fall across the Western Balkans. So again, unemployment is a huge issue. You see the figures that unemployment fell by 156,000 between second quarter of 2018 and second quarter of 2019, compared with 60,000 in the previous year. This was a general overview of issues of employment, unemployment, informality, and working age population, and how the youth is being engaged. Now we will see the employment and COVID-19, which created an uncertain recovery we don't know exactly what will happen in our countries with the COVID-19 presentation in March, mostly in February and March 2019, and that all know that it is continuing and is bringing us to develop this kind of activities online because of the social distances that we have to keep. I don't know if until now, do you have any question? Or I have to continue? I don't see because I have opened what is going on here.
There is no chat something, Mirela.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Just a moment, I have to do it again. Okay, then let's continue with issues created by COVID-19. As elsewhere in the world, in the Western Balkans, the COVID-19 pandemic has plunged countries into deep recessions. While the outlook remains uncertain, economic activity in the region is now projected to contract by an estimated of 4.8% in 2020, minus 1.7 percentage points below the forecast in the spring 2020 made by a regular economic report. The primary causes are the drop in both domestic and foreign demand and disruptions in supply chains, especially early in the year when throughout the world countries imposed severe containment measures such as lockdowns. A second and much stronger wave of the pandemic in the Western Balkans since mid-June and political uncertainty about elections in some countries have further impeded economic recovery. Due to travel restrictions, the social distancing requirements, the summer tourism season has essentially been lost, which has hit Albania, Kosovo, and Montenegro particularly hard. Because of the recession, labor market conditions have taken a turn for the worse and welfare improvements have been interrupted, although government response measures cushioned the blow. Before COVID-19 broke out in early 2020, most of the countries in the Western Balkans had made notable progress in reducing poverty and boosting household incomes. So by June, the unemployment rate in the region had risen into 1,039,000 jobs had been lost, and employers struggling with the challenges the pandemic presented have reduced employee work hours. For example, I think that this happened in your countries also. The women that are working in textile and shoes companies, they worked with reduced working hours per day, but so this brought less money in their families that they were planning to do. And most of these women, and this is a big issue, they didn't have only the everyday expenses for their lives to continue and their children to be kept in the school, but also payment of the different loans that they were taking from the bank. So their financial situation were unsecured, and this brought a lot of problems with them. But nobody's speaking about this, and I want to know from you, how is the situation in your countries? Are your politicians or in media, are you discussing about this unemployment rate and the number of people that have been pushed, for example, in the poverty? In our country, we don't see even media doing this kind of discussion or informing the population, or inviting experts in order to discuss how to tackle this. Everything is politically covered in order that the problem remain with each family, but not open as a discussion in each country. How is the situation in your country? Do we have here a representative from Serbia, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Montenegro, or Kosovo, or North Macedonia that can talk a little bit about this is the situation, these jobs lost and these people pushed into poverty is an estimation for Western Balkans from a World Bank report. So do you have any idea? Let's do a discussion here. Nobody want to talk?
Violeta, Mirela ka shkruar që dëshiron të flasë.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yes, Violeta. We have translation, so you can talk in English or in your language if you wish. Violeta, e ke mikrofonin e mbyllur.
Hi, you can talk now. I listen very good into this presentation from Mirela, and very satisfied with this statistics. I would like to talk about this unemployment rate for Kosovo. I'm coming from Kosovo, and I am from patients organization of breast cancer in Kosovo.
Mm.
And we are talking for unemployment, but I am not seeing that a lot of women have been lost the job after they diagnosed with the breast cancer.
Mm. Violeta, your voice is coming and going, but
and they will never get any job. We know that they would like to work and contribute to their families because their age is in
they are young, yeah.
in wonderful energy to give the family.
Mhm.
And we should talk about the law to discuss about the changeable in all area that employment for these women. I don't know how is the situation in other countries, but I think it's same. This COVID-19 give us a good lesson that if we can to work online from the house, also the women can continue their work online in their organization.
Yeah. Thank you, Violeta, very much for
Thanks
this
very much.
this issue. Of course, women with breast cancer are a very special group, and our countries are missing the data. I'm missing the gender data. We have raised this many times, because without gender data, in case of Violeta is raising the issue of women with breast cancer who are losing their jobs. So the employer are firing these women because of this sickness of them. And this is a pure discrimination issue. Unfortunately, since we at the Gender Alliance that I represent in this forum work a lot with discrimination in the labor market, unfortunately, and in the region, together with other partners, unfortunately, we have not seen any case law about discrimination. For example, the case of women with breast cancer that are being kicked out from the labor market because of this sickness is a huge case. We have to raise the society awareness.
Mirela, you mute.
Yeah, you should turn on your microphone.
Sorry. I thought that, okay, you didn't listen to me?
No, it was only the last seconds.
Okay. It was, yeah, okay. So this is the situation that we have to raise our voice, and we have to create a discussion about the employment of these target groups. This is how we can leave the people, in the case of Violeta, women that are with breast cancer without a salary. We know that breast cancer is a sickness, but it's not a sickness that you cannot work. You can even do your chemotherapy and work. So you can rest for 1 or 2 days and you can work. So we know that. Why this is not been part of let's say, of governmental structures to control and us as NGOs to bring this forward and make it as a case law of discrimination. As this case, we have many cases of discriminations, in fact, in the labor market. Even pregnancy is called sickness. And I know that many of the women that are here in this room, they probably get pregnant once in their life. It's not a sickness, is a joy for the family. So why, when you tell to your employer that you are pregnant, they see you differently? So what is this happening? Other cases that you want to discuss about employment issues in your countries? With the COVID that it is continuing very hard, we will face, I think, worst economic crisis than we are facing right now. Any idea? Okay, I'm continuing with my presentation. Again, according to the World Bank Group, like Western Europe and the rest of the world, the Western Balkans are enduring severe recessions in 2020. The most heated countries are Montenegro, Albania, and Kosovo, because of the tourism sector that was most affected by the COVID-19 crisis. Here, I want to close about COVID-19 and employment. We see that the situation is not that good, and we have discussed even for a special group like women with breast cancer, what they face in the sector. And I hope that the Kosovo organization run by Violeta can discuss this in Kosovo and open a discussion. We have seen that COVID-19 has been seen so far in our countries. The discussion is over the health situation and the health system, but not over the economic problems that COVID-19 can bring, and about the situation that COVID-19 can bring in the economy, in the families.
No, I just think she lost internet connection.
Yes, I think so too. Do you hear us? Okay.
Good.
Then it's her connection.
Mm.
So we just wait a little bit so she can get back. Just take a short coffee break. Diana, maybe we can pause the recording.
Yeah, sure.
Good.
Well, you can that again. So
Yes.
yeah. Welcome back, Mirela.
Welcome back. Your microphone. Okay.
Hello. What happened?
We think you lost connection.
Me? I think everybody lost.
Only you lost. Everyone else was here.
We're still here, so
I
everyone.
called some people about this anyway.
Okay.
Okay,
So
someone
sorry.
else is.
So sorry about that. Yeah,
Okay. Something happened.
something general happened because even the colleagues at the other session at Liselot, they lost connection. Probably something in Albania happened. I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
We have electricity and internet, but you never know.
Yeah.
So we are all in the hands of the digitalization, and we have heard many stories that something like that can happen. For example, and this will not be good for the society. This is very small what happened now. However, I hope that we are all together here. And I would like to continue with the women issues in the labor market. But before of that, and since we didn't have any presentation together, I would like to each of you to present yourself, and if your work is dealing with women's rights, it will be good that you open your cameras also and discuss about what you are doing in your organizations and what is your main relation regarding the issues that we are discussing, for example, employment, unemployment, informality, women, men, etc. So probably you have seen me in the agenda, but I am Mirela Arqimandriti, and most of the work that I'm doing for 20 years for human rights is in Albania. I'm the director of an organization that is called Gender Alliance for Development Center, and we are working a lot with the women in different sectors, trying to cover and discuss their problems of discrimination in the labor market, but also gender-based violence. So who else want to speak?
Mirela, mundë?
Yes.
Unë jam Vera Istreta dhe jam drejtore ekzekutive i Qendrës së Këshillimit të Grave dhe Shërbimeve Sociale në Unë ndoqa prezantimin tuaj, realisht ato probleme janë të pranishme, për të mos thënë që ndoshta më të forta në zonën tonë verigjindore, ku edhe shumica e popullsisë jeton në zona rurale. Të gjitha problematikat që ju trajtuat përfshirë edhe çështjen e punësimit apo të mbarvajtjes së punës së grave që vuajnë apo prokurohen nga kancri i gjirit janë shumë prezente. Madje unë do të theksoj
breast cancer is very present in our country.
Ndaj këtyre grave
Maybe in the state sector, there is some sensitivity about this issue, but in the private sector there is no sensibility about this issue. There is no legislation that include these women or girls that are affected from the breast cancer. And not only this group, but there are also other group of cancers that attack specifically women. Also, I'm not aware how much other participants can share with us the different experience or practice that how women and girls are treated in the labor market in their countries. We are here to listen to their expertise, their experience, and I will also interfere again and add a comment.
Is working in Kukës, in northern area of Albania, near Kosovo, border with Kosovo, and there the women are facing a lot of problems also with the unemployment mostly. Kukës is one of the areas in Albania that do not have a proper employment and not under the decent job agenda that we know from ILO convention. Yeah, another one. Okay, I'm picking up Yona. Present yourself, please.
Hi, my name is Yona. I represent the Albanian Businesswomen Association. Well, I recently, I don't have any maybe data specific for.
No, talk a little bit about
okay.
you,
The
about
labor
your organizations, what you are doing.
Okay. The Albanian Businesswomen Associations operate since 1992, and I represent the local part of the city of Shkodra. Recently, I have been working on a project actually regarding the recovery of women after COVID-19 pandemic, where we selected 70 women from Albania and around 20 women from the city of Shkodra to help them with grants and to build their capacities regarding their businesses. They were mainly small and medium enterprises. And in the framework of this project, we also did a survey where 181 women were participated in this survey regarding their challenges that face in the economy today, their businesses. And maybe I can share some data from that study. Just a minute. Yes. So okay. Sorry. The survey was filled, as I was saying, by 181 women, which answered 9 questions according to the questionnaire. And of the all major obstacles that they posed in the questionnaire was the high level of taxes and the unfair competition, where 58% of businesses have been selected and answered the questions. So the lack of the finances came first by 42%, and the problems with corruption and high energy prices, about 40% of businesses, and then as well as the frequent tax authorities inspection. 22% of women has selected the frequent fiscal legislation changes, and as the least selected obstacle, by the survey participants was the poor infrastructure by 10%, and then the 8% was the difficulty and the lack of grants. So we worked on that since, given the fact that we covered the craft sector, especially in the city of Shkodra, we worked on that. We selected from 20 women that were that participated. We selected 10 of them. They profited. It was a, let's say, grant of $400, but we helped them, so they, after they profit this grant, invested in their businesses and had benefits in fairs, or I don't know, in different areas where they invested. Now we are offering them technical support because the project ends on December 2020. And I don't know, maybe what I say, must collaborate stronger with the government as we face the challenges and are very near to women, and focus moreover in the design of the implementation and growth strategies for further sustainable of the female entrepreneurship, because they are really facing difficulties in this pandemic. They need support on raising their capacities and how to better improve and better face also the trade, only not on national level but also in international and regional level. That's
Thank
it.
you so much,
Thank you.
Yona. Very informative presentation. And Yona have gave us another view from the point of view of businesses.
Yes, yes.
Businesses also are facing problems. It's true that we have different fiscal policies in periods, in very short periods. So businesses cannot like build properly their business when the fiscal system is changing and the taxes are been raising or growing time after time. Another thing is the corruption, which is a burden for the businesses, and this brings these problems that we have discussed so far about the labor conditions and about the labor the workers' rights in the labor, women or men, if they are women or if they are men, is the same situation. Of course, women have more burden because of other issues, but our countries, I think that they are not like supporting properly the working force and the businesses and creating a lot of problems for them. That's why we are living in these unstable economic situations. Thank you, Yona, for raising this. Anybody else that want to talk? Gimme is trying to connecting to audio, I see. Gim, do you listen to us? Mirza? Ibrahim is interpreter? Probably, yeah. Jessica, who else will present? Cleada? Aslihan, do you want to say something?
Hello, Mirela. Can I intervene?
Jessica, yes.
Hello to everybody. I'm Jessica Cora, project manager of Institute of Romani Culture in Albania. Regarding this, I wanted in fact to present a bit the perspective of our organization towards Roma women entrepreneurship and also facilitation to the labor market. In fact, I agree with you, Mirela, regarding all the problems that women in general face. Also, I agree with you when you talk about that even the labor market here in Albania is difficult to enter, not only for women, but also for men. But when we talk about women, then it's double. And one of the reasons is, if I can discuss here about the Roma women, is the first one is the education that they have. The second one is true that we have vocational courses and they are for free for everybody, not only for Roma women, but for whole of society who is unemployed. But in the same time, we agree in the fact that these vocational courses somehow they are not practicable. So which means that if we do the professional courses for the hairdresser, here in Albania we have a lot of hairdressers, so somehow I joke with the fact that we have more hairdresser shops than the people who can go with them clients. And which means that we need a lot of labor market study in order to know what are the spaces that the market offer to us in order so we can counsel and make a career counseling and advising towards all of these unemployed women. The other thing that I would like to mention is about the startups. It's true also that a lot of many organizations in Albania, including our organization, have helped women to start a new business idea, to start their businesses, and we have found the opportunity to finance them. But regarding also the situation with the pandemic, these startups are now in collapse, which means that they cannot afford all expenses, they cannot afford the taxes, they cannot afford also even how they don't know even how to do the marketing and also to sell via online. So they need also training through this. And in the same time, I would like to mention even the fact of uh, different legislation on taxes and different legislation that we undergo in our country, even during the pandemic situation, and somehow people do not understand what is going on. So we have the pandemic. We also had the situation of the earthquake, and we have also women who maybe are not so well prepared to afford the labor market and to afford even the thing that how they can run their businesses, their new businesses, how they can enforce and give to them the energy to go through. So, and in the same time, we have the unemployment rate, which is very, very big. And somehow we do not have even possibilities where to employ these women. It's true that we have a huge number of fasteneries, so shoemaker industries or bag industries, but for how many women they can afford this? And regarding also the situation, are they have they the good quality situation, working situation to offer to these women? So this is what I wanted to discuss in general. Sorry for being too long, maybe.
No, it's this is everyday life, dear. So this was a training, but you know absolutely better than me all the problems that our women facing. All of you have a family, have father, mother, sisters, brothers, other persons in the family who have faced these unemployment issues that we in the Western Balkans, in fact, are facing. And I don't know, this is why the political leaders are doing this to the country, why they are not doing a simple plan for employment, and also in collaboration with each other, they can tackle many issues. You raised facing. You were talking about vocational education training and about these centers for professional integration of women. And Roma can access these centers, but Roma people in Albania and Egyptian people in Albania are facing with hard discrimination. They are still far away from the integration in the society because it's our way of behaving toward them. But not only, if they want to follow a professional course, as you mentioned, all the courses are about hairdresser or about cooking. And in fact, there are no places enough. Also, although these courses are free, another issue is the problem of the transportation. People that want to follow these courses, they don't live exactly near these places where these courses are offered, at least in Albania, so they have to pay for the transportation. But in the moment that they don't have money, as they don't have a salary, they cannot follow the courses. So it's like if the government has to do a plan They have to do it completely comprehensive, including all the problems that the people are facing. Somebody else want to talk in this session?
Mirela, Elsa, Raffaelli had something.
Yeah. Mhm. Yes.
Përshëndetje, jam Elsa Rafaeli.
Elsa? Yeah.
Jam përkuese një organizim. Përshëndetje, mirë. Ka qenë kënaqësi këtyre ditë që kemi dëgjuar shumë gjëra dhe kemi
This was a great opportunity for us to learn new things. I come from a women's organization in a small part of Albania, Kuchova. The unemployment in our city was very high in the past, but now it has increased a lot, and we can see that the poverty has increased also. There are many women that are trying to do some product in their house to sell it because they don't have opportunity to work in other areas. Some businesses have been closed. People need a lot of for support. It's a very difficult period. People are closed inside. Our city is very small. You know, Mirela knows how difficult it is for one to live in our country. We don't know how we will continue in the future. This is the businesses are closed. The businesses were run by women are closed. We have some contacts with some women in the market. They sell. Women say that there are no. The business is not going well. They need to pay the taxes, and they say that they need to close their businesses because women are always lead small family business. They don't run big or medium-sized enterprises. These are businesses that they are self-employed.
Include probleme thank you so much, Elsa. You raised issues that are really very important. You are coming from a small city, and I imagine how difficulties the citizens are facing. The problem of the difficulties is not as before. Like before, we had an option to immigrate to another country like in Greece or Italy and work there and take some money, even for 3 months that the visa allow, the Schengen visa allow. But now these countries has their own problems with COVID. They have own recessions. So how we will solve this issue within the country? It's time to think about assets that each country has for women's employment, or for men and women employment, not only women, of course. So this is the most important thing that the government should do. I don't know, we in Albania have not seen any plan. I see that we have very little representation here in this course. I know that it is Sunday, and I respect all the people that respect Sunday, but Freja is always concepted like that. And when we are together in a country that we organize, Freja, we always have very vivid discussion, in fact, and representation from different countries. It will be good that we extend this presentation, but somehow we have discussed the main issues about women. If nobody else wanted to speak, I'm continuing with my presentation that you see it. I think that you can see it, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So these slides, in these slides, I will talk mostly about the women in the labor market. So women in the Western Balkans in the labor market are still lag behind those in the European Union countries. Women work in sectors that are less paid, even though with higher education attainment levels, and often still carry out the majority of the private, domestic, and care responsibilities. COVID-19 has put additional burden on women in relation to caretaking responsibilities of children who were out of school and the elderly. Key indicators for the situation of women in the labor market show that gender disparities in the labor market remain as women continue to be underrepresented in the labor market. the gender gap. You know what is the gender gap? It is the amount of money as salary that the women are taking in comparison to the men. It is lower everywhere, even in Europe, but in our country it is has a bigger gap. So family responsibilities as well as lower incentive, especially wage for women to join the workforce are some of the main factors that keep women out of the labor force. Women employment gap remains unchanged. Young people continue to face major difficulties on the labor market despite significant recent improvement in the Western Balkans in 2019 and high structural unemployment persists. You have seen these structural unemployment issues that I presented in the beginning. While estimates of informal economy are not available, various surveys show that women tend to work more in unpaid family businesses or in the informal sector. A large informality, including agriculture, creates continuous constraints for women in the labor market. Women are mostly employed in lower equality of jobs. No social security, lower wages, limited paid sick leaves, no access to paid maternity leave. In Albania, the structure of employment and the high level of informality excludes more than every second worker from enjoying labor rights. So 1 in 2 workers enjoy labor rights, the other not in Albania. I don't know information for the other countries in the region, but I think that it is the same situation. The gender pay gap is often a consequence of the different patterns of workforce engagement by women and men. International labor organizations has created a lot of standards, and they highlight in many reports that women work on a part-time basis more than men, mainly due to their role they take in an unpaid family responsibilities. Women has to take the children from school, has to bring the children to school, etc. So they try to do this part-time based work. At the same time, women are employed in sectors which have lower rate of wages compared to the national average, such as the garment and service industries. In the absence of objective evaluations or studies on the gender pay gap, one can state that gender bias can easily occur in determining pay scales for women and men. Now, garment and footwear sector that Elsa mentioned a little bit. In this sector, that it is widespread in Albania, in North Macedonia, in Serbia, in Bosnia-Herzegovina, less in Kosovo, and almost zero in Montenegro. We have collective labor contracts. We have women that have never seen such contracts because these contracts are being done in collaboration with the trade unions, and women just sign at the end of the contract and don't take a copy. Payment of social insurance and payment of social insurance, working with hazardous element, mistreatment at work, different harassment from superiors or peers. Sometimes even women are behaving very badly with other women working in this sector. So verbal, emotional, or physical violence, sexual harassment, fear of losing job, salary non-payment for months, extra unpaid hours of work, uneven criteria in assessing the quality of work, inequalities in salary and rewards, uneven opportunities for professional qualification, and uneven opportunities for career or career advancement. In addition, the fashion industry is one of the most polluting industries on the planet. So you see that this is a sector that all our governments has embarrassed, and they have welcomed these companies to open up in our countries their sectors and factories, etc. But this is bringing all this situation for the workers, and in addition, pollution in the planet and in our countries, of course. We have seen, for example, in Albania, such factories who throw their garbages or their chemical things in the rivers and stream rivers that are near their factories, not like gathered properly in the garbage part of a city where they act. So this is more or less the situation of the employment, unemployment in Western Balkans, employment and unemployment before and after COVID, and the situation is not good. Therefore, there are many recommendations for the government that how they can tackle the COVID-19 situation. Our government seems very concentrated to the health sector, and of course it's right, but they have also in the meantime, now that they understood what are the protocols of COVID and how the people can be recovered from COVID, or how people can tackle COVID, etc. They should now think about the economic empowerment, the employment, the decent job places creation, etc. So one of the recommendations is gender equality. Government should continue adopting emergency measures to support women and parents with caring responsibilities, and to offer public childcare options to working parents in essential services such as healthcare. All policy responses to the crisis must embed gender lens and account for women's unique needs and responsibilities. Note that we have not done this kind of recommendations before, but now it's time that that our governments think seriously. The gender gap in the labor markets of the Western Balkans is a key challenge on women access to economic opportunities. Women make up about 40% of the total employed in the Western Balkan labor markets. Moreover, only 27.5% of business owners are women, and they hold just 14.2% of the top management positions in companies. These are based on the World Bank and OECD studies. Help women workers and families with caring responsibilities. Offer public childcare options to working parents in essential services. Offer direct financial support to workers who need to take leave, and give financial subsidies to employers who provide workers with paid leave. We know that the government needs to reinvent the whole society and the response, not only to the healthcare system, but also to the economic and employment sector, which is very, very important for the empowerment of the families, and for not going down to poverty, but also to a lot of social and economic problems. What else? Tailor support to needs of women and youth. Women and youth will likely suffer the most from business shutdowns in a number of sectors where they are typically overrepresented, such as restaurants, hotels, passenger transports, personal care service, and leisure services. All are closed right now. Gender equality. Governments should continue adopting emergency measures to support women and parents with caring responsibility. They have to measure them. They have to create data, gender data. We are speaking about this for years, and we still don't have gender data. We, for example, in Albania have some plans for social services in Albania, and the plans are really poor. I have seen some of them. They don't have data inside. They don't have statistical gender data. The gender gap in the labor markets is another issue that we have discussed, and is a key challenge on women's access to economic opportunities. Reinventing the future. Since Freja Forum has this topic about reinventing the future, I have to say that we are facing a very different crisis than all others in the modern era. The situation is rapidly evolving, having a widespread impact across different labor market segments. No one knows how long this crisis will last and what the ultimate impact and long-term implications will be. Massive impact on employment, affecting up to 30% of jobs in the urban areas right now that we are talking. Highest risk for job disruption is for low-skilled, those in informal economy, self-employed, and the vulnerable groups such as youth, migrants, and refugees. The key for the future lies in investing more in skills training, reskilling, upskilling, adult training, and making access to online skills training available to everyone. Also focus on digital skills who has this want to do this. Digitalization and automation will be accelerated in many sectors. The challenges existed before COVID-19, but are now even more prominent and urgent to address, like basic digital skills. We have talked yesterday about that, and it's really very important. Access to service online, digital online training, and reskilling. The sectors that are the most affected are retail trade, accommodation and food services, real estate, and manufacturing. So we have to work, I mean, not we, but the government and the entire society that can do it has to work all together to make this happening. I had some questions for you regarding what do you think about the living wage? Alda can talk a little bit more about this, about minimum wage, work sector, about labor conditions, and about decent agenda. Can we continue the discussion if you can about these topics? I hope that I have not been boring you, but I need your opinion right now. Alda, what you can say about living wage, because you have been part of a study that has been done for the Western Balkan countries about the living wage. Or anybody else can talk about the living wage, please.
Yeah, I can say 2 or 3 things. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity for this seminar today. It was very detailed and very welcome from my side, because we work together, but there are things that we learn every single day that it passes, and the reinventing future, the points that you have described and put it out, they are so in urgent need to be taken in consideration from all the government, but especially in Albania. Regarding living wage, yes, it's an initiative that it's taken in European region, of course, included the Balkan region too, and Albania. It's something that buyers should pay full price of a garment. That this includes also the way that workers can live on. We know in Albania for sure, but also in other countries, all women or girls or other workers that are working on the factory garment and shoes industry, they are being paid very low rates, and never ever it happening neither to being paid in the minimum wages too. If we take Albania for example, our minimum wage for the moment it's like 220 euro more and less, and it's being spoken for a raise on the next year, but we don't have a single person that works in 8 hours for 5 days a week on the factory that is being paid in this amount of money. And now the initiative is to bring to the governments in Albania, in the region, and in European Parliament. What about to start and think about the living wage, because it's the right as is like a human right thing. It's not just that these person that work in there in very terrible conditions need this money, but the first thing is that it is a human right things, because the gap, as Mirela mentioned before, the gap between actual salaries of workers and a living wage tends to be bigger in Europe clothing production country in comparing with Asia, that it's going, they have several years, like 15 or 20 years, that they are trying to raise the workers' rights for the payment and work condition in Asia. And in this study that was done, people and workers in Europe are being paid less than in Asia. The human right to a living wage has been codified by UN institutions as well as the European bodies. So right now is the moment that we need to do something, and we need to raise the voice. As Mirela has presented in here, we have okay. So we have, if you see in all region, the percentage of the payment, it's more or less the same.
The gap.
The gap, it's more or less the same.
Bosnia,
yes.
Serbia,
and
Albania.
Albania is 20, and we see that the lowest gap comes from Bulgaria. There, in our studies and our meetings with colleagues in Bulgaria, is something good, because the workers tend to get together and raise their voices, and they have these trade unions that work with them and try to fulfill the workers' right. But as you see, it's almost 20% and up. The biggest gap, it's in Bosnia 27, and in North Macedonia, that is very near us. These initiatives will start by the end of this year in every single country of the region, and also in Europe, and it will be a very long action during 2021 to bring to the governments, to other stakeholders as trade unions or inspectorates or the association of workers or employees, and to sit together and to see what can we do to bring in attention in these very difficult times that we are living because of the pandemic area, living wage, to educate ourselves that it's not a request for money, but it's a human right to be paid for the work that workers do, girls, women, or men in this sector. Thank you so much, Mirela.
Thank you, Alda. Thank you for, so you see how is the difference, how much is the difference on the living wage and the minimum wage that the people are taking in Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia, Albania, North Macedonia, Bulgaria, Romania, Turkey. So it's really a huge gap that people are not taking in order to afford their lives. For example, what is the living wage? Let me tell you some. Okay, living wage. Do you see? Do you see this?
Yes, Mirela.
Yes. Okay, good. Just a moment, I have to close mine. So living wage is these figures here. In order to live normally, women should be able to have, if they take a salary, to bring food at home, to pay the rent, to have money for healthcare, for education of the children, or even of themselves, or herself or himself, to buy clothing, to pay for the transportation, to make some savings. So it's a human right for all people and all over the world. So they everybody need to have the living wage. So I'm sorry. So this is the situation. This situation that, and with all the other issues that are shared with you. Okay, microphone na hapur.
Oh.
And all the issues that I shared with you are bringing this situation. So we all have to think about how to reinvent the future of the labor rights, of the employment of women and men, of the youngsters. You saw that in the Western Balkans, the youngsters are having this huge gap in employment. What are we doing? What our governments are doing? What is the politicians doing with the youngsters, not involving them properly in the labor market? This is really, really, we have to, media have to create appropriate programs about this. I know that in your country is the same situation. You have seen the figures and everything else.
Mirela,
Do you have, Margareta? Yes. Do you have?
It's such an interesting. I'm so fascinated of what you are presenting. I just would.
You were here.
I just like to see to add something when you talked about this moment that you are creating the next year. I think it's fantastic because I want to tell you how the close examples that show people around you the situation for women. In Sweden, women started to have an action where they stopped working after 6.5 hours because their salary, if they compare with the average for men, will not be enough for 8 hours. So they stop working. And then suddenly in the working place, they say, why are you stop working? Yeah, I don't have salary for the rest of the day. And then people started an internal debate. So I think you have to work both with the government, but also make it clear for your colleagues that this is an injustice. So they be aware of it. And small examples. In some places they cut a note of money and put on the jacket to show I have just been paid for 90% or 80% of the salary. So that is examples that people can be reflecting on, will give a more and stronger local movement also among men. That's good, I think. But thank you, very good.
Thank you, Margareta, thank you. Anybody else? Do you have any other opinion regarding what we were talking so far? I had another question for you. Worst sector about labor conditions and about the implementation of the decent agenda. What do you think in Western Balkans? With what I have presented, what is the worst sector where the decent agenda is not respected and the governments are not controlling in order to make this happen? What do you think? Which is the worst sector in your countries?
Yona has raised the hand.
Okay, yeah. Yona?
Yes, I just wanted to mention also something in regards to wage salary that, in my opinion, I'm young, one of the, let's say, representatives also of the Albanian Association. I can say that the low wage is still ridiculous in Albania. The low cost and the living is very low comparing to other cities. And maybe for other citizens that are foreigners, it is very easy to open a business or to afford a rent of a house that is 300 maybe maximum in Tirana. But for Albanians, given the fact that we have a 260 euros wage per month, it's like a tragedy because all families have to pay. It's like a nightmare when they have to pay energy and taxes and all kind of taxes. We, in the end of the month, it's like surviving, just to eat the basics and have some fun in Albania, but we cannot afford a living like everybody else in Europe. So it's still a challenge also for the governments that not only they have maybe strategies, but they have to increase the implementation and take it seriously, have the right people to implement the right strategies and policies to increase the low average and the low wage, sorry. And about the sector, I think that the main problematic sector is the façonneries. How do I call in English? The sector of façon.
Textile and shoes. Textile and shoes companies.
Shoes and other stuff. I don't know now. They have the women that work there. A part of them, they are not even insured. Their insurances are not even paid.
Exactly.
So they, even when they raise their voice, the representatives of the government and the taxes do not take them into considerations, and sometimes the owners pay also money, so there is also a high corruption, and so the women remain not, the insurance is not paid. Even during the pandemic, they had faced many problems and challenges regarding, because their jobs, they lost their jobs too, and nobody take them into consideration. I don't know if there is a problem or a gap only of the façonnery sector, but they have to work closely with the government, and the women has to raise voice, maybe collaborate more with also the syndicates that to their rights. I'm sorry if I didn't put this in the right way.
The trade unions. Yeah, you are talking about the trade unions. Yeah, the trade unions are another burden on the shoulders of the workers, because they are not properly representing them. It's true. Thank you, Yona. Thank you. Okay. Another one that wants to say something?
Mirela?
Vera?
Vera, yeah.
Okay, Mirela. Sa I takon Shqipërisë, unë ende nuk e di se cili është minimumi jetik.
I still don't know what is the minimum wage, or the it's around 39.
In fact, the minimum living wage in Albania, is calculated by some colleagues in the report I shared with you, and I'll talk about. And it is about 750 euros. And in fact, calculated from Institute of Statistics in Albania is about 500 euros. So it's this huge gap, because the calculation has been done with all the prices that we have in Albania, and what the minimum of things that a family can cover in order to live normally.
Okay, Mirela, se të pjesë edhe një prezantimi që ka bërë avokati I popullit.
I would also like to share with the report of the Ombudsman. What I would like to emphasize is the following: not setting the minimal wage, and it's to make it official. This is done. This is intentionally, because it will immediately affect with other obligations that should be done by the Albanian government, including the scheme for economic support, the support of unemployment, the social assistance. This is a scandal. This will also affect, without a doubt, pension scheme and salary scheme, or set the minimum wage. Therefore, when I listen to some amendments, or I 30 years have been gone to Albania, things have not been improved. We don't have good basis and sustainable basis. First, we need to create the basis and then create other things that we would like to have as a society. As a as a civil society, we need to be more included in order to have more sustainable things. First of all, to have a study. What does an Albanian needs in Albania to exist, to stay alive, and then to live? When I listen in Albanian parliament, that an official was saying that our fiscal policies are supporting the average level of the society that has an income over 1.2 million. This was a joke for us. My family, well, the majority of Albanians, they don't get 1/3 of what he suggested one family needs to stay alive. We should be more responsible. We know that we cannot make wonders. Albania and the Balkans is what it is. But first of all, don't joke ourselves. We should start doing small things in order to stay alive.
You are raising. I'm sure that this situation is the same in Bosnia Herzegovina, in Kosovo, in Serbia, in Macedonia. We have seen, in fact, that in Albania we are worse regarding informality, for example, or regarding the job places that we lost due to COVID. This means that we are worse in the political, policies and strategies for the development of the country and for the decent jobs. So, yeah. Okay. Anybody else that want to talk, or we are going to an end? And I saw Margarita left again. Probably she entered to close. I would like her to leave her to close the meeting. If the technical support can meet Margarita, can find Margarita and tell her to close the meeting, because it is supposed that each of us close the activity after this training session. Once again, do you have another question, another discussion? The situation is really black, is not that good, and with the COVID is going worse. So we have to say things like that. We don't have to cover. We are not politicians, unfortunately, and we have to say the things that unfortunately the situation is really, really in these conditions and probably is going to be worse. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you, Violeta, for the compliments. You are taking care for a very special group. So from these special groups, from these organizations, these special groups need a proper recommendations to the government and lobby and advocacy. I hope that you will manage to do that, because it's a pity that a person sick go out from the labor market when this person needs more than everyone to have some money from its labor in order to support itself, to cover the expenses that the conditions of the health is presenting to his or her family. Thank you to everybody. Thank you, Caroline. I know that the situation in Sweden regarding employment is better, but I know that you also are facing the COVID-19 problems created in the economy and of course health sector. So Ermina, we are closing here.
Just a sec, we're trying to find Margareta and get her into this room. So
Okay,
yeah, you can. We will show you PowerPoint presentation and with the information of who the winner is from the quiz and more. So just wait a sec. Yeah, we'll see if Margareta is coming back.
Yeah, we can wait a little bit. I know that it is Sunday and it's time for lunch probably, but since we stayed all weekend like that, in order to be ready to go to Brussels next year, we have to wait a little bit.
Okay. It seems like it's a little bit problem with the quiz. It's not done. Okay, so maybe it will come a little bit later, but we can start the PowerPoint presentation maybe. So we'll see if Margareta will be back.
Where is she? Is it another session?
It's supposed like, yeah, it may be they not answer me. I'm trying to connect with my colleagues in other sessions, but okay, we got new information here. So we are meeting in main session 12 o'clock. So you take a short break now, and you have the link of the main session in the program.
Yeah.
Yeah. So welcome back 12 o'clock in the main session. So we will close there.
And you have to come in order to listen who is the winner. Haideni të dëgjoni se kush e fitoi atë quizin që u bë dje. Besoj keni marrë pjesë. Okay.
Yeah. And
bye.
Yeah, and I would like to thank our interpreters. We
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Good job and thank you. And you don't need to come back to main session, so you can take Sunday now. Thank you very much for a great job, and other participants, see you at the main session 12 o'clock. Welcome.
Bye. All the best to all of you.